Hi guys, happy Wednesday. I apologize, it's not letting me do it horizontally again, so I'm just going to have to hold it and I will try and not move too much or shake my leg um, because I tend to do that or twitch or whatever. So I didn't Google it between the last time it happened and now, so I really should have done that. I did delete a lot of things from my phone though, so I probably deleted. Hi, Justin. I probably deleted like something that allowed me to turn it sideways, and now I can't turn it back. So, Justin, we have to figure out how I can turn this. I messed it up before. Hi, guys. Are you guys together? Just seeing. Go live with him. I've never seen that before. Okay. I was trying to figure out how many of these I've done the other day, and I think I've done like 16 or 17. So, anyways, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to do my normal, which is a little bit of real estate statistics, like the local market, a bit of Toronto market, and I'll answer questions that people have written in. Or you're welcome to ask questions while I talk today. And then I give like happy news as well as the odd, not sad news, but like the odd other news, okay? Um, at the gym. Okay. Have fun. Okay. What do I have first? First, I have a question from Stefan. And sorry, I'm doing this with one hand now because I don't have my selfie stick because it doesn't go vertically. So Stefan wrote in from Victoria Harbor. So thank you for writing in. And again, you guys can write in the comments or you can write in throughout the week if you feel more comfortable, and you can DM me or what have you, okay? So Stefan wrote, I'm still working and don't see any way that I would not be regardless of COVID, which is awesome for you, Stefan. I have some equity in my house. Do you suggest I sell it and move up or refinance and buy a rental property? So I am always a fan for buying rental properties. However, Stefan, I don't know your situation. So let's just say, for example, you live in a two-bedroom house and you have four kids and you're sleeping on the couch and you have two boys sharing a room and two girls sharing a room. Then I would assume you would want to move up in your house. But I don't know your situation, okay? Or you could kind of do like a combo. So I would get a rental property and stay where I am, but maybe you could do a combo. So you could move up to a nicer house, but you could have, a rental suite in the basement. So you get to live in a nicer part with your kids if you have any, but you also get to rent the basement for some added cash. So maybe you could do that. But again, it depends on your situation. But I not to say if it's not broke, don't fix it. But if it's not broken and you're fine where you are and you could buy a rental property, that's what I would do, as opposed to just having a prettier house myself and not having income, generating on another property. Just because I like that with properties, things go up in threes basically, or there's three bonuses. So you make a little bit of money every month from the rental. They pay down your principal, and then the house goes up in value. So there's three things of that. So if you have your house plus another house, then that's why I like it, okay? Hi, Mel. Hi, Rob. Hi, Scotty. Hello, happy live. Um, so that is what I would do. So thank you, Stefan, for writing in. I don't know if anybody has seen like the wine fairies. Melanie, you would like the wine fairies. So there's this lady that started a Facebook group, and it's called Sisterhood of the Traveling Wine. And now there's over 78,000 members on it. And basically, she started and she like put on a tutu and she'd put on wings and go ring somebody's doorbell and drop off wine and run away. So if you hear a doorbell, you might be getting a surprise from a wine fairy, which I'm sure Melanie. I'm not picking on you, Melanie. I like wine too, but sweeter than you. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Rob. Long time no see. I think last I saw you was at Home Depot. Okay, let's see if I had a question next. I did. Julie and Claire from Minising and Wasaga, or Wasaga, however you say it, said, we both are single moms and currently rent. Do you think it's wise to pool our money and buy a house together? I do, but it depends. Obviously, financially you can afford to, but let's just say one of you is paying $1,600 a month and one of you is paying $1,900 a month or whatever. Obviously, you could get a beautiful house for that kind of mortgage. So I would if you can. Just be sure that you like are detailed with things. So if one of you thinks, okay, it's a bungalow and I'm going to live upstairs and we're going to split the utilities, but your friend downstairs thinks, well, that's not fair because I'm in the basement, so why am I paying 50% of the utilities and I have like the not as nice unit, right? So just make sure you've talked about things. Maybe one says, I want to hire somebody to do the snow and the grass, and the other person's like, no, I want to do it, myself. And so just, I don't know, I've seen a lot of people fight, family, spouses, whatever. So make sure you detail that. And then make sure you do everything with the lawyer. So you could either be tenants in common or joint tenants. So if you guys are joint tenants and one of you passes away, it automatically goes to the other person. But if you're tenants in common, it'll go to the other friend's will. Okay, so one person, God forbid, passes away, it'll then go to her will. It's often common too in second marriages. So let's just say people have only been together 2 months, or maybe, I don't know, 2 years, and they get married. And then somebody's had a kid for 40 years. So if they're tenants in common, it'll go to their kids. But if they're joint tenants, it goes to their new spouse, which not as many people like that, okay? So that was Julie and Claire. Thank you for asking. Hi, Dwayne. Hello. Ta-da. Hi, Dougie. How are you? Hi, Sandra. Sandra, I honestly haven't seen you in forever. I don't know if you remember, but I used to serve you at Naked Steaks. It was a steakhouse downtown Barrie. Hi, Christina. Christina and her adorable 2 daughters, and I only thought she had one, and now she has 2. So another thing I was going to say was back on Father's Day, there was 2 friends out in Chicago, and it was super hot that day, right? And so they're going around, and there was this older man in his 70s, and he was selling popsicles. And they started to talk to him, and they ended up buying all his popsicles just so he could go home and get out of the heat. And then they discovered, he had come to the country in 1969. He became a citizen in 79. He didn't pay off his mortgage and struggled quite a bit until 2015. Like back in the day, he said even if his family got 1 meal a day, he'd be happy because that was like a struggle. So they ended up recording, with them buying all the popsicles off him, and they posted it on TikTok, and they got over 5 million views. And then they put a GoFundMe page, and they had over $24,000 donated within a day, and now it's up over 62,000 to help this guy retire. So I thought that was super cute because I don't like all doom and gloom news. I like good news. Hi, Grumblebee. How are you? I'm seeing who else is on here. Hi, Lisa. Dwayne, you've never said about the wedding. I always say about the wedding, and you never comment if it's delayed or what's happening. So I would like to know what's happening, please. Okay, so some real estate stuff. Some of you have watched this before. Some of you, it's your first time. So the market's been super hot, in Toronto and locally and in Muskoka and Cottages. I'm sure it might be hot in Oshawa or wherever, but I don't know Oshawa and Hamilton or whatever, so I just do these ones. So Toronto, they just got their June statistics. So they were up 89% over May. So June was up 89% over May, the amount of homes sold. And then the actual sales price was up 11.9%. And that counted condos, detached, semis, townhouses, etc. But when you looked at just the detached, they were up 14.3%. And the semi-detached were up over 22%, which is amazing. So they're doing super well there, as are we. So yay to our neighbors. And then some people, whether it's they feel like trapped because of COVID and they want to get away or whatever, but a lot of the Toronto people, have been moving up this way. And then, local people here, whether they're in a condo and now they want to get to a townhouse or a semi, and then the people in the townhouses or the semis want to get to the detached, and then the people with the detached want a cottage. So it's just like this ever revolving change that people want to have something else or an additional thing like a cottage. So obviously, unless they're unemployed due to COVID reasons or whatever, a lot of people are taking advantage of the market, okay? Bradley. Who is Bradley? Oh, thank you. They said they like the positive news. Louis, thank you. Hi, Phil. I like it too. That's why I do. I do what I like. You have to do what you love, right? So, or like, or whatever. And I like happy things. I like corny, happy things. Like if it's one of those movies and everybody walks out and is like, that was the corniest movie I've ever seen. It was so predictable. I'm the one that's walking out, bawling my eyes out, and I'm like, it was so amazing. So that's my personality. Okay. So statistic wise for Barrie, in the last 24 hours, there was 18 new houses, which is obviously a ton because sometimes that's like in a week for us. So there's 18 new houses, 10 were conditionally sold, 13 went firm. So it doesn't mean like 13 of the 18 because those were just new ones, but obviously there was other ones that weren't new in the past 24 hours, okay? 5 people got their keys and 4 people canceled. And then in the last week, there was 59 new listings in Barrie alone, 45 conditionally sold. Again, not 45 of the 59, but 45 in general conditionally sold. 76 completely went firm, and 68 people got keys to their new properties, and 8 expired. And then condos in Barrie, there was 14 new just in the last 24 hours. And so that is a lot, honestly, for Barrie for condos, because sometimes we get like 5 in a week. So that was great. I'm going to go back to a question. So Richard and Gabby in Barrie said, if we accept an offer on our house with conditions, but somebody else comes in with a cash offer and no conditions, can we take it? So what was your name? Sorry, Richard and Gabby. That depends on what the conditions were. So if it was conditional on the sale of another house, you can't, just take it, but you would have had an escape clause. So there would have been something in there, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, that those first people that offered, that have the house to sell, that they can either firm up or back out. You can't just automatically bump them for these new cash people, okay? And if you accepted an offer and it's on finance and inspection, you can't bump them at all. There's no, give them 24 hours and they have to firm up. There's nothing like that. You've signed to those people, so they have their 5 banking days or their 3 banking days or 7 or whatever. So you can't bump them. So it depends on the situation. The only way you could possibly bump them, but not 100%, is if they have a house to sell. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense for you, and thank you again for writing in. You were tagging him. Well, thank you, Scotty, for tagging Bradley. Hi, Saida. Saida's last name means mirror in Spanish. It's your Spanish lesson for today. It's your espejo is mirror. And Enrique Iglesias means church. Okay, so we did the question. So going back to real estate, cottages are super busy right now. So whether people are renting them out or buying them, they're really busy. Maybe people are not obviously flying to Disneyland or Disney World or whatever, so they're renting a cottage. If you do rent a cottage, they're obviously cleaned, but maybe you want to take extra precautions and wipe down, door handles or the fridge or counters or what have you. And as I said before, like Muskoka and just cottages even around here are blowing up, selling fast because people are bored and they're going for more like staycations. And also all of the people that got out of the stock market because of things going down want to invest somewhere. So tons of them are buying real estate and specifically cottages, okay? So that is why our cottage market is going crazy. I have to turn my page, and again, I'm doing it with one hand because I have to hold this because I can't do it horizontally. Hi, Carly. I was just talking about cottages. Carly is currently living at a waterfront property until she moves to BC. We just sold her condo. Oh yeah, somebody asked me, for people who have been watching this, I bought a place in Innisfil on the water, and I was like, I'm going to be there next week, and you'll see me there or whatever, but now I'm still here with my Scottish cow or something, somebody told me it was, because the demand for renting that place has been so crazy, and so that's why I'm here and back in Barrie. But it's not just, that was really nice and other things won't rent. There's places that, I purchased for $200,000. I have clients that purchase for $250,000, in February or whatever. and they're renting them, and it's packed because everybody just wants a little getaway. 2 days, 4 days, 6 days. Is 250 common? No. Do they exist? Yes. Is it more common to pay more? Absolutely. 4, 5, 6. Obviously depends how far you go. But they're willing to drive, especially if they're staying 4 days or a week or 2 weeks. Okay, so cottages are busy in real estate market. Speaking of cottages, just because in between Barrie and Aurelia is Oro, in the last 24 hours, there's been 5 new listings and 3 conditionally sold and 1 went firm. And then in the past 7 days in Oro, there's been 13 new listings. 2 deals fell apart, which means they didn't get financing or they didn't get inspection. Not didn't get it, didn't like it. It didn't pass in their eyes. 7 conditionally sold. 6 went firm, and 7 people got their keys, but 4 listings expired. Hi, Dad. And what I was going to say next was like beaches. I don't know if you guys have driven by the beaches at all. I haven't hung out at them, but the last 2 weeks has been really busy at the beaches. So everybody's taking it differently, all the mayors. So the Barrie mayor is doing $10 an hour parking. They upped it with a maximum of $50 a day just because there's been so many Torontonians coming up. Innisfil, the Innisfil Beach Park, which is at the end of the street from my new place, they turned away 1,200 vehicles, not even 1,200 people, 1,200 vehicles that were trying to park there. They gave like 128 or something tickets. Yeah, 128 tickets, and they towed 36 cars in Innisfil. So it's been very busy with people from the city coming up. So people who are not going to cottages and just trying to come for the day and barbecue and so forth. And again, because I was just speaking of Innisfil, I'm going to throw in the statistics. So in the past 24 hours, there was 5 new listings. 1 deal died. 5 went conditionally sold. 5 sold firm, and 4 people got their keys, and 3 canceled. And in Innisfil, in the last 7 days, there was 23 new listings. 4 deals died, and 14 went conditional. 13 sold firm. 19 happy buyers got the keys to their properties. 7 expired, and 6 canceled. Staycations are very in right now. Scotty, are you going to do any staycations? I think I already said hi to Catherine, but maybe I didn't. Hello, Catherine. Hope you are well. Okay, so I just said about staycations, or Scotty did. Aurelia is doing pretty similar to Barrie, which they're doing the $50 a day. But let's just say you weren't going to park and you were just going to come and launch your boat. They're also charging you $50. But one thing they're doing that Barrie's not is it's only Thursday to Sunday that they're charging you $50, okay? So that's what they're doing. And then in Ramera, which is more strict and they don't allow Airbnbs, you would guess, if you guessed, you would guess right, that they're stricter with their beaches. So they're just closing them, and they're closing a lot of their boat launches. Brecken and Lagoon City and so forth, they are just closing because they said there's too many people coming up in the past few weeks that are not local, and they're not social distancing, and they're not following any basic kind of procedures. So they just said for the safety of their citizens, they are going to close things. And in Springwater, in the last 7 days, I won't do 24 hours, in the last 7 days, they had 7 new listings. 1 deal died, 6 went conditional, 12 sold firm, and 10 happy people got their keys, and 2 people canceled. Over 1,000 tickets issued from Barrie. That's crazy. I only did about Innisfil, but that's makes sense. Okay, did you guys hear about that 48-year-old lady in Barrie? She was not having a good day, and her friend went to the variety store and they bought her a coffee and a scratch ticket just for like a bingo thing, and she won $100,000. It was just on Cedar Point Plaza, in that little convenience store right on Dunlop and Cedar Point. So anyways, it may be a lucky plaza, so if you want to go in there and buy a ticket. I'm going to do a question again. So this is from Devin and Rachel in Midhurst. We love our house, but now that we're working from home, we're thinking of moving to where we're from, which is Huntsville. Do you think we should sell and have a really small mortgage, or keep it as a short or long-term rental? So thank you, Devin and Rachel, for writing that in. I'm always one for keeping and having rentals, but kind of depends what you're looking for. So let's just say, you want to move to Huntsville and maybe one of you doesn't want to work, or you both want to work less, or maybe you want to travel more once all of this is over, or maybe one of you has a dream to, I don't know, be a photographer, or be a writer, or start your own business or something, and you think that maybe you won't make money for a few years, or 5 years, or 10 years, or whatever, and you need the equity from that to have that buffer, then you could do that. So it depends kind of what your end game is. Or if you don't have anything like that and you say, no, we just put it on our mortgage, I would keep it as a rental. And whether you do short term or long term, you would need to research. So obviously right now things are a bit different with long term rentals, but you could still see what has recently been prices in your neighborhood and doesn't make sense. Is the average thing renting for $2,300, but your mortgage is $2,700, it doesn't make sense. Or is your mortgage $1,600 and they're renting for $2,800, so it makes sense. Or if you do short-term rentals, just see what the vacancy rates are. Just because somebody's charging $500 a night, look, are they actually only renting it 2 days a month? Or are they renting it 28 days a month? Check what their deposit is. Are they putting zero deposit down? Are they putting $500 deposit? Are they charging no cleaning fee, or $200 cleaning fee? You just have to look at all of it. And just see how much they're booked, and just try and book it yourself. So try and book it in the summer, try and book it on the weekend. It might say it's $59 a night and you were planning on charging $300 a night. If you have that competition, then that's not going to work. So you have to do your research to see which makes more sense for you, short term or long term, or if you want to start some business or work less or whatever, live a simpler life up in Huntsville. Kind of depends on your end game. But thank you for writing in. Hi, Les. Hi, Jessie. I have not seen you in forever. Hope you're well and you're a gorgeous little girl in Mexico. Okay, so that was Devin and Rachel. Do you guys remember Groupon? It was like, don't worry, I'm not going to talk about it, but you go online and get cheap whatever. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because the wife of the co-founder or whatever of Groupon, she started this thing called Ving, V-I-N-G, and it's a non-profit, project or organization. And so she started it because she felt that teenagers had a bad reputation. So sometimes people think that teenagers are selfish or they're lazy. They sleep all day. They don't clean their rooms. So she started this organization to help them see like giving back, paying it forward. So what she does is she says, okay, send me a 2-minute video, kind of like I'm doing a video. Send me a 2-minute video of somebody that you think should win $1,000 and why they should win it. And then they decide who they think should get it. They send that person a check addressed to who they wanted to win, and then they can go and give it to that person, just to show them like, okay, it's good to give, it's good to appreciate people and to recognize people. And obviously for a teenager, because they only give it to people 14 to 18, and then those people can only give it to people 18 and over. So for a 14 to 18-year-old to save money is pretty hard, even before COVID and minimum wage and so forth. And so they gave over $250,000 last month alone, not last year, last month alone. So again, it's VING, and it's just about giving back. And so to help teenagers see how it's good to be nice and support each other and love each other and show their appreciation for people that help them or help the community. So I loved that. So thank you, Ving, for doing that. Thank you, Scotty, for the love. What else? Oh, yeah. There was an Uber driver in Memphis, and she drove a nurse home who was like super exhausted. And she decided, okay, I'm going to bring this lady food tomorrow because she didn't eat, and that's why she's so tired. And now fast forward a few months, and she's given over 3,500 meals. And sometimes she gives like 60 meals a day to doctors and nurses and so forth, staff at the hospitals. So a local newspaper picked her up, and then New York did an article about her, and someone in London. And then Jada Pinkett Smith brought her on her show, just kind of like a Zoom sort of thing like this. And they gave her a new car that, to help her drive around and so forth. So I thought that was cute because she's just giving all her time and all our money to feed, the doctors and nurse and anesthesiologists, and that's kind of a tongue twister, but I think I said that right. So thank you to that lady and to Jada for doing that. So as a question from Jody in Cookstown, she said, I hated when everyone was painting their homes gray. Okay, and now I'm sitting behind gray. And now everyone seems to be painting their homes white. I'm selling as soon as I get the outside spruced up a bit. Do I have to paint my entire house white? You do not, Jody. However, you're right, it is popular, but you don't have to. I had a house once for sale in Barrie, and other agents would joke if I had sold the Barney house yet. So people aren't as prone to, it's a red room, it's a green room, it's a purple room, it's an orange room, it's a pastel room, it's a vibrant turquoise or yellow or whatever. They're not really about that, obviously, but you don't have to do it. But it is, more ideal, because let's just say you say, oh, I've had 20 showings, so obviously the color didn't affect it, but they might just be using yours and then buying the one that is painted. So, I mean, you're not going to live there anymore anyways, so it's not like you're going to have to live there for 10 years and stare at the white walls and you think it's like living in a mental institution or a sane asylum or whatever. You're not going to live there anymore. So if the public wants white or gray, I would give it to them. And white is more popular than gray. But if you're opposed to it or you don't have the time to, if you're priced properly and exposed properly, it'll still sell. So, but I would paint it if you could. I know that's probably not what you want to hear. There was also a 15-year-old boy, and what he did was he invented these wristbands. I don't have one on, but it kind of looks like, I forget what those things are called, and they like track your steps and they tell you a bunch of stuff in your heart rate or whatever. So it looks like that, and you wear one on each wrist, and it tells you when you're about to touch your face, just to help like prevent the spread of COVID. And again, he's only 15. So he thought of the idea 2 years ago because he travels with his family a lot, and they were always getting sick, at airports and public transportation and so forth. So he'd always like tell his parents, don't touch your face, don't touch your face. So then he invented these things, but he never like basically pulled the trigger or whatever. But then both of his parents got COVID this year. So then he decided to do the patent and make it all official. I forget what they're called, Vibe Pro. They're called Vibe Pro. And somehow with some analytic stuff, I'm not techie, it knows like, oh, you can't really see my hand. You're not pointing or you're not like waving. It knows somehow if you're going to touch your face. So that's kind of cool. He's also giving profits above and beyond his patent and however much it cost him, to make it and so forth in the beginning, to hospitals and to nursing homes. So that's cool for a 15-year-old. Is awesome. There's also a lady in Toronto, and she's married to a doctor that works at Mount Sinai, and she's making tie-dye sweaters. So they're $55 each, and 100% of the profits goes to Mount Sinai for protective shields and face wear and so forth. Okay, so check her out. Color by, I think it's Color by COVID or something like that. I can't find it. Colors for COVID. So that's really cool. So we have a question from Kristin in Barrie. I know you started with long-term rentals and have switched to short-term. Do you suggest that order of stepping stones for a new investor? Thank you, Kristin, for writing that in. I don't know why my face is so itchy. I don't have those tracker bracelets, but I've also washed my hands, and I'm at home. It's not necessarily that you have to do that. That's just what worked for me. I would just say, like, if you were watching before and I said about those people in Midhurst, I would do your research first. So research what makes more sense to you. And what kind of return, like if you're doing short-term rentals, to be honest, it's way more turnover and hassle, but your profits are higher, right? If you're like, I'd like less hassle and less whatever, then you can go with the long-term. But they have their drawbacks too. So it depends if you do a single family or a multifamily. Single family is least return but least hassle. Multifamily, then you have, two people giving you money every month, but then they might complain, oh, they're loud, or they scratch my car or whatever. Room rentals, not counting out of the long-term rentals, room rentals is the most return, but the most hassle because you have multiple people. Just kind of like short term because you have the most people because it's turnover all the time. So I would just look at all the pros and cons of each and all the numbers, do your research of what's renting around you long term, short term, what they're getting, what their vacancy is, and see what makes sense for you. And then I would do everything based off your lowest. So if you think, okay, it's going to rent at $2,500 a month, I would do things off of like 1,800 just in case sometimes, you didn't have it rented or whatever. I don't like to do all my numbers off the high ratio. I like to do it off low ratio so you have that like buffer zone, okay? So thank you, Christine, for writing that in. Neutral colors are always a good choice. Yes, Scotty, they are. So that is all for this week. Sorry I was holding my phone and hopefully it wasn't too bumpy. I hope you guys are all fabulous. Have a wonderful week. If you guys want to enter our contest on Friday, we post what the contest is, and then Monday we say who the winner is, and you get $50 to a local restaurant. And if you tag somebody and who you tag wins, you both get $50. So it's just a fun way to get some extra money. Thank you for the love, Dougie. Have a great day and evening, and much love.